Read a short, Oral Response to Literature, Responding to Deficits by Michael Ignatieff. It is defeat in itself. Looking sorrowfully at someone who has lost nearly every part of their life except for life itself, someone who has no control over themselves because they can't remember basic necessities. Looking at this person, possibly a loved one, and silently hoping for nothing more than an end to their suffering. In Deficits by Michael Ignatieff, the narrator focuses on his own mother and describes her poor attempts at remembering what life used to be. Through the repeated defeat that the elderly woman feels, her futile attempts at holding on to what is left of herself, and the narrator's own worries about his mental health, the reader experiences pity when they read this story. It may lead to one just hoping for an end to the poor woman's suffering. Overall, the composition is heartbreaking, but highly effective in evoking these emotions. The narrative has a strong opening. The narrator explains the redundant questions that his mother asks him whenever her husband leaves the house. She asks these over and over again because she can't remember whether she asks them or not. He then explains that sometimes he tries to count the number of times she asks him these questions, but he loses track, which hooks the reader and immediately presents the main idea of the piece without explaining it outright. As the piece progresses, the audience learns more details about the woman's life, each bringing more sorrow than the last. She does not know her own grandson's name. She can't play cards. Her son has to bathe her every day. She has nothing left of her past except for the long-ago memories of her childhood, giving her enough sense of self that she desperately tries to cling to who she used to be. Even her past was full of hardships. Her memories consist of being sprawled in the middle of Regent Street among the blood and shot glass during an air raid, watching a mother sheltering her child and thinking, I am alone. Details such as this, along with happy memories of her younger days, give her dimension as a character. When she's built more like a real person, the empathy felt for her, or even the personal connection to the character, is stronger. This is part of what makes a story so mournful, but attention-grabbing. The empathy for ultimately all of the characters is started with the defeat that the old woman feels for herself. The narrator explains that he went to buy her a chain for her glasses so she can keep them around her neck and avoid losing them. He dates the beginning of her decline to the purchase of the chain, to the silence that descended over her as he drove her home from the store. In this moment, she seems to know herself what is to come. Even though the purchase of a chain may not seem significant, it means that she can't remember where her glasses are, and she needs to keep them around her neck in order to avoid losing them, a sign of her mental decline. The reader experiences this sensation of defeat with her. Her slow realization that her mental illness is enveloping her more and more is also expressed through her shame when she does not know who her very own grandson is. When they have to explain to her that the nice young boy she's been playing with is her grandson, she simply says, I see. She looks away and puts a hand to her face. The reader feels a desire to comfort her in this moment, but what will comfort a woman who has lost the ability to recognize her own family? When the others visit, she doesn't say much anymore. She is worried she will forget a name and her son won't be able to help her in time. Her illness has silenced her in a way. Even though she's aware of what she's forgetting, she still clings to what she has left of herself. The narrator explains this in a thought-provoking way multiple times. She is trying to hold on to what's left, he says when she is wandering around the house aimlessly in the middle of the night, a rather upsetting visual. The sentence is structured in such a way that makes it feel like her attempt is futile. She is scared, intimidated by the looming deterioration of her mind. However, her son simply says she could make it easier on herself. She could give up asking questions. But would this not be giving up altogether? poor old woman is refusing and resisting the future that is being prepared for her. Aware of her situation, she lives in a constant attempt to stay lucid. But what kind of a person is someone if they only have their habits left? If they can do nothing more than what they're used to doing every single day? Through this idea, presented in the story, Ignatieff does an excellent job of making the reader feel sorrow, hopelessness for her, as if really nothing can be done. What makes the situation worse is the fact that the woman's son is anticipating the same to happen to himself. Ignatieff uses fear of this eventuality to create pity, this time for the narrator. Because she has no past, his mother's future rushes towards her, a bat's wing brushing against her face in the dark. The world must be terrifying, and the woman's son has this to anticipate with age. The fear that comes with touching something in the dark and having no idea what it is. He never stops thinking about what it would be like for this thing to steal over him. Brilliantly executed, the author here finds a way to explain the narrator's fears in an interesting way. He knows that it runs in the family, this illness that his mother has, and he is already paranoid, taking great measures to avoid the mental illness. Through these aspects of the story, anguish is felt by whoever is reading it. This piece stuck in my memory, a sure sign of an effectively written passage. Perhaps it is the fact that the old woman is completely aware of her shortcomings that is heartbreaking, or the fact that she doesn't swim anymore, something she once loved to do. The piece is personal, thought-provoking, and really captures the dejection that comes with situations such as this. All in all, the short story deals with some very heavy subjects, but it is highly recommended to read.